And it's so easy to fall into our old ways and habits and stop doing those deeds that we started doing right at the beginning of Ramadan.
One thing I want to point out, a lot of people make a mistake. They say words which they don't really think much of, but in the sight of Allah it may be something quite great. They complain.
Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. Yesterday, myself and Ustad Asim here and some of the other mashayikh, we were talking about common mistakes and problems that people face in Ramadan. So, Ustad Asim and a couple of others, they decided it would be a good idea if we try to share them with some of the brothers and sisters. So, number one, burnout. Now, it's very easy in the first couple of days to really have that enthusiasm and zeal to do so much in Ramadan. But then what we find is after a couple of days, about 5-6 days in Ramadan, you find it's so easy to get to the front row in the masjid.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to fall into our old ways and habits and stop doing those deeds that we started doing right at the beginning of Ramadan. We lose that enthusiasm, we lose the zeal, and instead of remembering the ibadah and focusing on worshipping Allah, it becomes habitual and it just becomes a routine. And sometimes it then turns to something very lifeless. Now, at that moment, we need to remember one key thing. Now, it's really easy to fear Allah for one day or 2 days. But that's not the intent of Ramadan. The intent of Ramadan is to attain taqwa, which will continue way after Ramadan throughout your whole life. Remember that Allah said, أَيَّامًا مَعْدُودَاتٍ. It's only a few days. When you can make a huge amount of money and it is the opportunity that cannot be missed, you will sacrifice everything and you will not waste any opportunity, whether that's a week, a month, a year, whatever it is. This is Ramadan. It's far better than any trade you can make and any profit that you can make. There's no time to relax, and it's only 30 days. The end is in sight right at the beginning. The Prophet ﷺ, look at the words he used. Man qama Ramadan, man sama Ramadan. He didn't say a person who stands 1 day or 2 days in Ramadan. He said consistency. The Prophet ﷺ didn't say 1 day of fasting or 2 days. He said consistency. The whole of Ramadan, standing and beseeching and begging Allah. And fasting, remembering that I'm fasting for the sake of Allah. I'm going to endure and I'm going to love it for the sake of Allah. Because this is something great and grand and Allah loves it. And that's why I want it. Remember, the Prophet ﷺ said that the things that Allah loves most are the things that are continual. Even if they're small. Do those deeds consistently, and most of all, remember at every moment, remind yourself consistently, the beginning of the day, the middle of the day, the beginning of an action, the middle of an action, at the end of the action, I'm doing this to please Allah, to gain taqwa of Allah, to gain His Jannah, so that He can smile at me. That's what it's all about. So that's it.
Jazakallah, Sheikh. Those very good points. I remember last year when I went for Taraweeh in a masjid local to me in the middle 10 days. And subhanAllah, middle 10 days, there was very few people there in the salah. Very few people. It peaks in the beginning and then it peaks at the end. But in the middle, I think a lot of people, they do lose out because they burn out. Jazakallah for that. Another thing as well, subhanAllah, brothers and sisters, fasting is difficult. SubhanAllah, it is something that you need to have a lot of willpower to do. You know, a lot of non-Muslims, they are quite amazed by the fact that we fast 30 days. But one thing I want to point out, a lot of people make a mistake. They say words which they don't really think much of, but in the sight of Allah, it may be something quite great. They complain. I remember the day or two before Ramadan began, I went into a restaurant and the customer and the owner having a conversation about Ramadan, and they basically were complaining, saying, "Oh look, it's just started to get hot now. When Ramadan's going to start? Why do they have to start now for?" These kind of words, I think many of us say words that affect complaining, but these things we shouldn't say. Rather, this is a gift from Allah to us. Ramadan is like a gift. If you think about what you can get out of it, it's far more than what you're going to lose in terms of the uncomfortable feeling, the hunger, and so on and so forth. I think let's be careful the way we speak about Ramadan. Just to emphasize this, you know that the Prophet ﷺ, when he lost his son, uh, Ibrahim, his son, when he was an infant, he cried, subhanAllah. And when the companions asked the Prophet, why do you cry? He said, the eyes shed tears, the heart feels grief, but the tongue will never say except that which pleases Allah. So you may feel certain things, but hold them into yourself, inside your chest, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will definitely see that and reward you for that as well.